My name is Bigfoot. I fly a spaceship. You might not see me unless you're patient. Yeah, catch me in my saucer. Yeah, catch me in my UFO. Baby, I'm a monster. Yeah, maybe you don't know. My name is Skunk Ape. I smell like bad stuff. Except on Sundays I work at NASA. Yeah, catch me in my saucer. Yeah, catch me in my UFO. Baby, I'm a monster. Yeah, maybe you don't know. My name is Sasquatch. I'm still on my space. And when I blast off, I transcend time, space. Yeah, catch me in my saucer. Yeah, catch me in my UFO. Baby, I'm a monster. Yeah, maybe you don't know.
What you doing? What you doing, Bill? What you up to? Who you schooling, Bill? You got the money? You got the taste? You was on that plane to little St. James? Yeah. What you doing, Bill? Yeah. Who you schooling, Bill? You buying farmland still? Training mosquitoes to kill? What you doing? What you doing, Bill? What you up to? Who you schooling, Bill? You got the money? You got the taste? You was on that plane to little St. James? Yeah. What you doing, Bill? Yeah. Who you screwing, Bill? You buying farmland still? Training mosquitoes to kill? You got the money, Bill? You got the taste? You was on that plane, Bill? To little St. James? What you doing? What you doing, Bill? What you up to? Who you screwing, Bill? You got the money? You got the taste? You was on that plane to little St. James? Yeah. What you doing, Bill? Yeah. Who you screwing, Bill? You buying farmland still? Training mosquitoes to kill? You got the money, Bill? You got the taste, Bill? You was on that plane, Bill? To little St. James? Bill?
Let's join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Welcome to the cult, caught you chasing fame. Welcome to the cult, you're in a twisted game. Welcome to the cult, run by the CIA. Welcome to the cult, we'll make you change your name. Now I'm in a cult, who expected this result? Got more chores than orgies and there's no sex rituals. In this cult, I'm stuck and sick of being in this. Join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Let's join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Welcome to the cult, caught you chasing fame. Welcome to the cult, you're in a twisted game. Welcome to the cult, run by the CIA. Welcome to the cult, we'll make you change your name. Now I'm in a cult, who expected this result? Got more chores than orgies and there's no sex rituals. In this cult, I'm I'm stuck and sick of being in this. Join the cult, let's join the cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join the cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Let's join the cult, let's join the cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join the cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Let's join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult.
It's all my control. It's all my control. MK Ultra, let's go. Messages subliminal. It's all my control. It's all my control. Everything you see and read. It's all my control. What you read, what you eat, where you sleep, who you read, the things you see in movies, TV, anything you think is free. It's all my control, all my control. It's all my control. MK Ultra, let's go. Messages subliminal. It's all my control. It's all my control. Everything you see and read. It's all my control. Everything you see and read. It's all my control. Books we teach, those rules we preach. Is it really free speech, or is it all just my control? Is everything really my control? All my control. Yeah, it's all my control. MK Ultra, let's go. Messages subliminal. It's all my control. Yeah, it's all my control. Is everything really my control?
What about the youth today? What about drugs today? What about corruption? Corruption of the morals of our youth. The CIA is the biggest drug dealer in America. It has been for years. You want documentation on the drugs being flown in plastic bags in the body cavities of the dead GI? Look at Time Magazine, January 1, 1970. What's going on in America today? Their plot, their plan, their conspiracy remains invisible. The Black Rose is the code word for this. It's a clandestine group of U.S. government operatives, primarily the CIA, which has for many years run illegal drugs and arms operations in both Southeast Asia via the Golden Triangle and the Middle East via the Golden Crescent, funded by the British socialist-based Russell Trust Drug Cartel. The Black Rose's current chairman and co-founder is an individual known as the White Rose, or GHWB, a known bisexual pedophile and CFR, Council on Foreign Relations conspirator. These are the people that run the world. These are the Illuminati. Very simple.
Hello and welcome to Creative Chaos. Happy Thursday. I'm going to start calling it Practice Friday. So, we can start drinking early, right? So Creative Chaos is a show created to highlight fascinating people creating fantastic things outside the mainstream. We don't do much complaining here. And it's all about highlighting indies doing wonderful stuff to kind of push back on the mainstream crap culture. We like to have a little fun here as well. And of course, Creative Chaos is always sponsored by my favorite magazine in the whole world, Flip City Magazine. And I have a little video for our promo that I want to comment on because I think it has a little bit to do with Flip City. So if you can roll that cause, that'd be
New
great.
trend to cancel celebrities and compare the Met Gala to the Hunger Games capital, and I'm here for it. Everyone wakes up at different times for various reasons. Some it's corrupt politicians, their lies and disingenuous virtue signaling. Others it's celebrities flaunting their wealth while mockingly ignoring the fans that got them there. Really, it's the same. Pushing back against the establishment, fighting against the undeservingly privileged that are placed in positions of power and influence to keep us docile and compliant. The resistance is us. The resistance is normal, everyday Americans sick and tired of being treated as second-class citizens. It's middle America that stood up to the lockdowns, vaccine mandates, those kicked off the internet for not having the right beliefs or supporting the wrong president. We may not agree on the same core values or beliefs. We may not see eye to eye on all social issues, but we're on the same side, the resistance. It's not left versus right, man versus woman, black versus white versus yellow versus brown. It's us versus them. And there are more of us than there are of them. Block the celebrities, mock the establishment. Influence is the most highly sought after currency in the world. It's what gives them power. Strip it away and take back control of your minds and destinies.
All right. Now, anytime I come across Matt Kim, I don't really follow him closely, but anytime I see him, he's always saying something poignant, but in very simple terms. A few key points that I take away from what he said is, everybody does wake up at different times. We created Flip City to not be a red pill enema for people that are just waking up. It is to kind of let people know that mocking the establishment, it can actually be fun, and it's a really great way to dissent from tyranny. So we are in our 5th year mocking the establishment in print. See, here it is in print, using the time-tested tool of satire. And Flip City goes pretty hard in the paint, goofing on everyone within the control structure, from the powerful celebrities and politicians all the way down to the usefully woke minions. So you can help us, Flip City, flip the scripts on these tyrants by supporting us at flipcitymag.com with a purchase, or even just sharing. I know that we are in depression right now, so if you don't got the cash to support Flip City, you can always just find us online and share our shit. And it'll help us build our own power and influence. And we promise you won't be sorry that we are powerful and influential, because we're all about the fun. So that is flipcitymag.com. You can even read a magazine for free from that link as well. So hurry over there. I don't even care if you stay for the stream. And I forgot to, so that does it for Flip City. I forgot to thank our opening band, which was the Sound Scientists. And that happens to be only a small portion of the creative works of my guest, who will meet very soon. But first, let's bring in my co-host, Batman. Hey, Batman, I heard you're packing. You just got home and you're leaving again. So
I'm packing for my son's college graduation, my baby. I can't believe my 5 kids are all grown up and out of the house, and my 21-year-old Noah, my baby son, is graduating college, and crazy, just absolute craziness. So, yeah, I just got back from 2 months being away, a month in Peru and a month in Florida, and now I'm back in New York, or as I like to call it, shit York, because it is nothing more than a shithole. Thank you, Governor Hochul. Anyway, so let's not forget, Party Tits Cuomo, because he started all this bullshit. But anyway, I digress. Yes, I'm leaving to go up to Ithaca, so I'm unpacking and repacking. I just spent the entire day doing laundry.
Right, and I know you are always on the go, and so we will not be seeing your face tonight, but that is okay because you're a superhero. And good luck on your packing. Feel free to chime in anytime. But you guys, if we don't hear from Batman tonight, just know he's probably stuffing his face, eating his dinner tonight. And I don't know, are you planning on falling asleep during the stream maybe?
No, I just got done smoking a bowl, so there's no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, smoking a bowl makes you not fall asleep?
I only smoke sativa.
Oh, yeah, I like that as
Sativa is
well.
my medication, because my ADD and my ADHD won't let me sleep as it is. So if I'm focusing in on something like packing, I'll get all it done. I go to my doctor's appointment tomorrow morning. I jump in the car after that, and I literally just hit the road.
All right. Well, good luck with that. And
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and check in with the chat here real quick, see who said what is up, and then we'll bring in our guests. So, hello, Hangton, Alien Surfer, Vulcan Lives, George Washington X, and Good Stuff have all checked in over on the YouTube, and my good pal Paul Thaddeus. I say good pal because I go hang out in his stream sometimes over on Pilled, and I believe that is it. And we've got
Can
our
I chime in real
whispers.
quick?
Yes, of
Can I
course.
chime in real quick?
Of course.
I just need to do this real quick. Happy birthday to Norm. Happy birthday to Norm. Happy birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to Norm. Yeah!
Happy birthday, Norm. I think you're a Taurus.
Yes, he still is a Taurus. I think it's the 20th or the 21st is the click over to Gemini.
All right, gotcha. Well, I'm an Aries. I had my birthday last month, but I don't make a big deal about it. You guys didn't even know.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. That's much appreciated. All right, let's bring in our guest because I'm super excited to meet him. I didn't have much time to speak to him backstage before the show started, so we'll do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. So my guest tonight, his name is Thomas Gorence, aka Paranoid American, and he is an ex-military, ex-Disney animator with credits in music, TV, movies, and over 10 years of publishing comics about conspiracies and the occult. He's got a campaign for his Illuminati series, a mature comic series featuring taboo and occult topics ranging from erotic alien body snatchers to sex magic rituals. This is just a small sampling of the creative things that Thomas has his fingerprints all over, and I'm excited to meet him tonight, so let's bring him in.
That's me.
Thomas, that's you.
That's me. No, thank. That was an awesome intro.
Well, yeah, you gave me a few of the sentences. I had to highlight that you have a campaign running.
Yeah, and a lot of people know me from different areas of life. Some people know me because I do podcasts. Some people know me through comics. Some people through music. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about all the different avenues here. And you mentioned the Sound Scientists, which is basically me. It's based on a group that I was in the early 2000s, and I just kept carrying the torch, kind of a little bit solo. But that's many different hats.
Yeah, and I definitely want to talk about sound scientists, but I wanted to start with actually, no, that was my first question. Because I enjoyed that Bigfoot song. It was the very first song we played tonight as the intro. I think I listened to that 10 to 15 times. It's really catchy. And I noticed that of course, the video is done with AI. So all you indie music people out there, if you want to post your stuff on YouTube, make an AI video. Would you agree?
Absolutely. There's no reason not to give some kind of visual eye candy, and it only takes a couple hours to have a whole music video produced. So,
Yeah, and then speaking of AI, because I was watching you on a stream the other day, because you seem to stream all over the place, so I caught you somewhere, and you mentioned something about using AI to have you write lyrics, and I was interested about that because I wasn't, I'm like, this could have been AI written, who knows? So let's just talk about the Bigfoot song, the first song we played tonight, and I'll drop a link in the chat in a little bit to that video because it's so cute. How much of that song in particular was AI derived?
so everything except for the lyrics. At this point, I'm not happy with any of the AI generated lyrics on any of them, Grok or ChatGPT, or even a bunch of custom models that you can run on your own. None of them really have the same flair and like the lyrical wordplay that I want in them. So I tend to still write pretty much 100% of the lyrics, but that song in particular, the rest of it was all AI. I mean, it took a little bit of crafting, but there was no instrument. I didn't hook up my MIDI keyboard. I've got my Ableton push controller behind me. So like I've got all the tools to create one from scratch. But lately I've just been trying to see how far I can push AI to generate like damn near 100%.
That's really interesting because I figured that the lyrics might be AI with a little bit of, you adding in the wordplay because I know it's not that smart yet. But so the voice is AI, the singing?
Yeah, 100% of the actual music that you hear there is all AI. The singing, the only thing that is not is that I bring it back in and I do a little bit of mastering and I might tweak the EQ and whatnot, but it's all just sweetening. Like the actual melody, the percussion, the singing, 100% AI generated.
Okay, and there is so much controversy, swirling around AI. So I see my chat moving. I'm not looking at what they're saying. I'm wondering if they're talking crap on you.
Bring it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing because we use a little AI for stuff for the magazine. It's like, wow, why if you want a photorealistic thing, there is no reason to hire a photographer anymore. Sorry.
Or even more, like I do a lot of 3D rendering, or I used to, like real hard 3D Studio Max and Maya and Cinema 4D, and I use like Octane renderer, and like all the things, like all the different toys. But now I can just generate something really low resolution, bring that into AI, and then use some fancy like control net style tools, but never have to touch a render engine if I'm doing single images. Animations is a different story, but single rendered images, I can't imagine ever needing to sit down and like set up all my lighting and set up the caustics and the physics. Like
Yeah.
I'll just plop an unrendered version in AI and then let AI generate 2,000 versions of it for me.
Yeah. So how long have you been playing around with the AI generators?
About 2019, I started like I actually intentionally said I want to learn how this stuff works from the inside out. I trained my first custom image model in 2019 using something called StyleGAN, which was released by NVIDIA, and it was not used by a lot of people, and I don't think anyone uses it anymore, but it was kind of the baby steps of all this AI image generation. So I think I cut my teeth right on the ground floor almost.
Yeah, it sounds that way. I'm like 2019, it was happening. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it dates back to maybe 2016, but at that point, it probably was just going to be like CS majors that were really into a very niche part of the field. But it started getting big because NFTs started getting big in like 2018, 2019, and there was a lot of people that it was incredibly niche, like high experience field of people that were using AI to generate images at that time for NFTs. And then at a certain point, NFTs went out of favor and AI became ubiquitous to where now the tool set, almost anyone can use it. So it lost some of the novelty that it used to have. But that was kind of how I got interested in the first place. It was like, oh, wow, there's people that are making art with this and it's just generating stuff. That's nuts. And now it's like everyone's, oh, yeah, of course, my browser does it. My phone does that.
Right now, what do you think, like as far as the naysayers go, or people that might say somebody using AI is just a complete hack? Do you have anything that you like have a regular comeback for? Like, well, it's because of this and that, and you
I
know.
mean, I just I think everyone overestimates how well they can point this stuff out because my good friend Andreas Zertis, he's got one of the better quotes, but it's like whatever your criticism is right now at this exact moment, this is the worst that it will ever be, and it's only getting better. Like right now, like 10 seconds later after I just said that, AI has already improved. Someone's already found a new way to optimize, a new way to fix eyes, hands, faces, feet, postures, all these different things. So at any given point, whatever you think that you can tell, oh, that's the dead giveaway, that those dead giveaways are going away rapidly. And I almost feel that the people that think they can spot AI or they can hear for it, they're probably at the highest risk of being duped because they're so convinced that they know what the telltale signs are. And I
Right,
really don't think the telltale signs exist anymore.
right. So no more six fingers.
So it's almost like a moot point. Great, you're anti-AI. Good luck trying to discern what exactly is and isn't AI, and that's going to become an all-encompassing job for some people. Or constantly are going to be figuring out, oh, I think I like this song, but let me figure out if it's AI. I think I like this picture, but let me figure out if it's AI. And it's one
Yep.
of those weird things that what if you heard it first, it's a song, and you loved it, and then you find out, oh, it's 100% AI. Do you now unlike it? Like, and I'm sure people do, they stop liking movies because an actor does something, but it's almost like the actual generated media has merit on its own. And if you think that you can determine if a human soul was involved or not, I think that's kind of silly.
Right. The thing I kind of compare it to is when digital cameras first started coming out, and how a lot of photographers loved it and a lot of photographers hated it. They're like, oh, now everybody's gonna say they're a freaking photographer because it's digital, blah 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 blah.
Gatekeeping. There's a lot of gatekeepers in the art and music worlds that definitely feel like they own some kind of private real estate space in this world. And that how dare these normies show up that didn't have to go through 10 or 20 years of art school or music school or had to feel all that pain. Like, what do you mean you can just say, write me a silly song and then 5 seconds later it's done and you're calling yourself a musician? I don't know. I don't have the same hangups with some people get really stuck on like, well, should you be able to call yourself an artist or a musician? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm having a blast and I'm gonna keep having
Yeah,
a blast. You can call me whatever you want. It has zero bearing, and it's weird that people even obsess over stupid kind of phrases like that.
right. Well, very interesting. I was so curious about what was AI and was not in that song, and kind of blown away actually that it did the music and the voice. I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different ways you could approach it. There's some where you can generate the instrumental separate from the acapella and then break it out and do like all the different like the percussion and the melodies. But really, most of the AI models now, they're trained on full songs. So they generate the entire song and it comes like pre-mixed, pre-mastered, pre-everything, all the effects and the backup vocals, all that stuff is baked into it. And there's almost no control over wanting to like fine tune those things unless you're willing to spend days and days on it. So I mean, the Bigfoot one that you heard, that was the result of me probably listening to like 300 variations of that until I kind of curated the one that I wanted the most. So I'm not
Right.
like making it, but I'm curating it.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing too that I think a lot of people that haven't even played around with AI, and not that I've done a lot of it, my husband does, and he goes on and on about what he does. So it is kind of an interesting technique, and people don't want it being called art, but it is kind of an art in itself that you are curating it, you know.
Well, the
That's putting the human touch on it.
one of the cool dynamics for me is that because I had a background in the music industry and like you were mentioned, I've got some credentials. So like I've written songs and had them published and had to shop them to, big publishing houses and that whole nine yards. But there was like a very limited resources like between the time you write it, like you're not going to go and have 200 different people record this song and come up with their own variation. There's just not enough time in the day and money in the pocket in order to do that. But with AI, it's kind of opened my entire mind up where now I can write a song and I love like the Bigfoot song, right? Like I love the lyrics. But like maybe it's a country song, maybe it's a jazz song, maybe it's a hip hop song. Like I have no idea what song. Like in my head, I probably am hearing it a very certain way. But I love just going into AI and going through just a list of genres and sometimes making up genres. The other day, I asked it what a 1970s funk Croatian Japanese cop show theme song would sound like, and it actually sounded kind of cool. It wasn't something usable, but that's the kind of thing that, like, even if I wanted to, even if I went out on the street and I called and I was going through all the Sam Ash classifieds, like, I'm not going to be able to find every variation that I want, and I'm definitely not going to be able to say, okay, give me 2,000 versions of this song. Check with me in the morning. I'm going to sleep. When I wake up, let me go
Right.
ahead and listen to a few hundred variations of this. It just doesn't happen. And now, and the cool part of it is that I can hear the same song in new ways that I never would have even considered having that vocalist or that genre or that instrument. And now it's when I write a song, it's like I can almost feel my brain opening up a little bit like, wait, maybe it is a Croatian country funk song because I kind of know what that sounds like now.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to go play around and try what you're doing, what AI generator does the music?
There's
Or
two
where do
big
you go?
ones. One's called Udio, UDIO. That one's free, I think, right now, and you can do a bunch of generations on that one. The one that I use the most is Suno, Suno.ai, and they both work slightly differently, but the both of them they've kind of got like a beginner mode where you just type in a generic concept or a song you want, and it'll make the lyrics, it'll decide on the genre, it'll do everything. You just type in, a jazz song about a cat or whatever, and it does everything else for you. But they also both have an advanced mode, and in the advanced mode, you can specifically tell it what genre you want. You can tell it, you can put in your lyrics, and then they even have a certain kind of like markup script almost, so that when you're in the lyrics, you can denote which part's a verse, which part's a chorus, if there's a bridge and intros, and the more intent that you put, and the more specific you're at, the modicum of control you can convince yourself that you have. But yeah, Suno AI and Udio are the two big ones.
All right. You heard him. If you want to become a musician, go see those AI programs,
You're
or at least
instant
have good
artist
lyrics,
overnight.
right?
Within 2 seconds, you're a musician.
Yes. And everybody will know you are a highly acclaimed
Well, again, it's
musician.
it's so funny because the only thing is if you just don't tell anyone, then they won't even know. There's really no easy way to tell unless so
Until
that's
they say, I want to see you live. Like, when are you going on tour? You're like, oh, they caught me.
Oh, I just hurt my back. It'll be soon. But
Well,
that's the
Sarah,
one thing that stands out though is that specifically the lyrics is one of the biggest dead giveaways is that I don't care what text generation engine you're using, if it's Chat, GPT, or Grok, or some custom like Wizard, Vicuna, or whatever, but they'll just constantly come up with like the same rhyming schemes, like they're consulting with the same crappy like B movie lyric writer regardless, and they'll use weird words that people don't usually put in songs. So that's one of the dead giveaways, but that'll get better too.
okay, and I want to talk more about AI, but I have more questions for you. So we're going to move on. Um, because I want to talk to you about one, just kind of where do I want to start? Let's just talk about working for Disney real quick because I found that to be really fascinating. Because to me, like looking at your posts and like watching some of your streams and stuff, you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
All right. So like, how long did you work for Disney? Were you awake then? And you're like, oh, I'm not doing this crap. I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, so I'd say I was awake in the 90s, mid 90s, late 90s. That's when I came across Behold a Pale Horse and Alex Jones and Manly Palmer Hall and all that stuff. It was because my friend down the street had a cable connection in the 90s, which was kind of a big deal. He had like access
Yeah.
to, and it was also not really sanitized or curated, right? There weren't like Wikipedia or Snopes or any of that stuff. So almost every time you went down a rabbit hole, you were in conspiracy land within the internet. Like no matter what you did, once you got to like the fifth or sixth page of search results on whatever you were using, web crawler, like you were in conspiracy land regardless. So I feel like I started there. I was in the military when 9/11 happened, and within months I was on the conspiracy train on that too. So I feel like, and this is all pre-Disney. I joined Disney in like 2006. So I was already a dyed-in-the-wool conspiracy theorist, and the whole trajectory that I kind of found where I'm at now doing comics and everything was because I felt like it would have been a crime to not try and get some of these other Disney artists that I was working with every day to do conspiracy theory stuff with me, even if they didn't know what they were doing. Like I wanted to commit, like, hey, here's a description of a character that I'm working on. Can you draw that? And they don't know they're drawing like Larry, Franklin, or they don't know they're drawing William Rockefeller or something. So that's how it kind of started.
So
And
you
then
wanted to troll your fellow artists?
I wouldn't say control, but it was,
No,
but it,
troll.
oh yeah, no. Oh, so it wasn't as much trolling, but I saw that they were just doodling. If we were all had watched a TV show, or we all were talking about Battlestar Galactica or The Office or whatever, I mean, they would be dicking around and spend 20 minutes drawing, Michael Scott from The Office or something, and just one example out of many that random sketches. And I was like, man, if these guys were as interested in conspiracy theories as I was, it would be awesome if every time they doodled something, it was like Oklahoma City or 9/11 or the Rockefeller, like something conspiracy themed. So that's where I was just trying to nudge that. And I mean, you can't make somebody that doesn't care about conspiracy theories care about them. So I ended up started doing like trades of services, or hey, I'll help you animate this, or I'll help you write that if you do this sketch for me or come up with this little concept art. So I mean, that was me at Disney bringing my conspiracy theories with me. And even at a certain point when I got big enough in the company, I actually had my own business card and it said conspiracy theorist connoisseur like on my card at Disney. So it wasn't like a secret at all. Like I was the
Okay,
guy.
so they knew.
100%. Like, so I wouldn't maybe go in and just start talking about like children getting kidnapped and massacred and stuff. Like I kept it light, but you knew that I was into that. But maybe I'd just talk about Bigfoot or NASA or something. Like keep
Yeah,
it kind of light.
you have to play to the room.
Exactly. And yeah, and inside the Disney room, like you got some open minds, but you also never know what kind of suits down the hallway and that can overhear you. So you'd have to kind of temper yourself a little bit.
Right. You know, I can imagine, just like, working anywhere else, you guys, perhaps you went to bars or hung out, after hours. Was there any situation in which like you were with these people in a social setting and like went really deep? You're like,
I
rabbit
mean,
hole
did
with
they
me.
were wild, just as wild as I was in their own little avenues. Like it was such a unique place to work, right? So it was kind of corporate, but it was also working nonstop with other crazy musicians, artists, and animators. So the first week that I showed up, they were in the middle of a completely extracurricular, had nothing to do with Disney, but the group that I was in, they had put up like a fake rap group and they needed like a manager to come in. So when I got hired, I dressed up as like this manager, and they had a limo drive us and drop us off at work, and then it brought us to lunch and stuff. And like this was like a normal thing going on constantly. So if I wanted to talk about 9/11 or whatever, it's like, yeah, whatever, let's go on the roller coaster, let's hire another limo, let's go and do like, let's dress up like rappers and go downtown and shoot videos and convince people that we're rappers from England and stuff. Like it was just nonstop, like not living in reality, like just
I
practical
have to
jokes. And
I have to interject here real quick if you don't mind. Do I call you paranoid American or
yeah, you can
PA
call it
or
Thomas or Paranoid. Most people just call me Paranoid.
paranoid? Okay.
That
Well, you can
works.
call me Batman, or you can call me Bruce, or you can call me Bruce Wayne. So that's okay. It's all good. So I have to ask. So you're a few years younger than me, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Just looking
42
at you.
this year.
Okay. I don't like saying it, but I just turned 60 this past weekend, and you wouldn't know to look at me. And I'll actually let you get a glimpse because I'm sitting at my desk here right now. So
Oh, good.
this
You
is
put a
me.
shirt on.
Yeah, I put a
That's
shirt on.
your 20-year-old son.
It's my 20-year-old son. Yes. So, um, oh, train of thought. Jesus Christ, we were just talking
You're
about it.
breaking in Disney.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to. Damn it.
Hey, that sativa's not working so good for you.
No, what were you just talking about? You played the DJ
Yeah,
manager.
I was like
Okay,
a fake
so
manager for a fake rap group in my first week there.
got it. So are you a Beastie Boys fan by any chance?
Yeah, although I got into Beastie Boys during Sabotage and License to Ill,
Yes,
which
yes, yes.
which was like a different version of Beastie Boys than Fight for Your Right to Party and
Yeah. Oh, that's what I
Paul's
grew up
Boutique.
on.
So
Yeah, Paul's
I was
Boutique
less
was
Paul's Boutique. I was more Sabotage, Ill Communication.
don't sell Sabotage short. It's a great freaking album.
It
No,
is.
I know I'm saying that's my reference for it, but it's like
Right.
sometimes when I
With
say I love Beastie Boys, mine goes Ill Communication and then what is it? Intergalactic Planetary.
Intergalactic, great. Yes, Intergalactic Planetary is a great freaking song in general. She's so crafty. I mean, that's stuff that I grew up with, the earlier albums. So I like that you came into this new company and they just threw you right into it and you jumped right on it with Disney. And I have to ask, did you see any shenanigans while you were at Disney? Anything?
I mean, not really, because I was a busy worker, you know what I mean? I heard stuff because I worked with people that had been there since literally they opened the door at Disney World. Like the first day that they opened, a large number of the people that I worked with were like the OGs that had always been there. So I heard a lot of stories from them. The most salacious one, it's usually a disappointment, but to me, it's like the most realistic is that for the longest time, if somebody died in the park or if they got severely hurt or maimed, since Disney in Orlando at least is kind of its own little city, they have their own EMS, they've got their own fire department, their own police department, everything. So let's say that you fall and kill yourself in Tower of Terror, right? Well, even if everyone knows you're dead, they'll have the Disney EMS grab you. No one does anything. They don't declare you anything. Like for all the, you're Schrodinger's cadaver at this point. Like they only know if you're dead or alive if they pull up the curtain, right? So they drive you off to the off property, like right on the edge, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, he's dead," and you get declared dead. But the reason they do this is so they can claim that nobody's died in the park, nobody's gonna hurt in the park. No one has to hit that little like 0 days since somebody died in the park. That I mean, that's the most salacious one. There was other things like people have been caught, having sex and doing drugs and getting in fights, but that's anywhere. And that the part about being able to ship dead bodies off your property before you declare them dead, that one felt more conspiratorial than anything else that I heard from the inside at least. I've heard way more crazy stuff from the outside, but that's the only one that I feel like I knew from like firsthand accounts.
That's really
Can you?
interesting. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I'm just gonna break in because my sister and brother-in-law they met and got married at Disneyland. They both worked there for over a decade. So yeah, I've heard a lot of the sex and drug stories
Well,
and
Disneyland has their own crazy story, and if you look into the Who Framed Roger Rabbit ride, that's one where somebody got absolute like nobody could whisk them away because like a leg got caught under one of these rides and it just tore him up. Like they basically like popped. And it was a traumatic experience for everyone that saw it that was there, and I think they had to like shut the ride down. It was so horrific, but. So Disney World feels like they run a tighter ship than Disneyland does.
okay. So basically you're saying that my brother-in-law who ran the rides was a piece of shit. Lazy.
Well, he
No.
literally was killing children on purpose.
Yes. He obviously was. Well, you know what? He's a Hollywood producer now.
I mean, you got to sacrifice a few to Moloch before they let you, your crops start going wild.
Batman, did you have something to add? I know I cut you off.
I did. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I wanted to know, Tommy, right? Tommy?
Yeah.
Thank you. Tommy, I do want to know if you've been through any of the tunnels, especially the one that's supposedly in It's a Small World that runs behind It's a Small World.
I didn't get to because I didn't have to work in the park. I got to work in the animation building in the backstage of the park. Again, I was told to stay out of the tunnels, and it wasn't because there was anything creepy going on. This is another like a boring aspect, but this is the ground line is that people would get absolutely destroyed in those tunnels because what would happen is the tunnels are used so that Mickey can show up in Frontierland and then disappear, and now he's in Tomorrowland, and you never see Mickey like actually transferring from one side of the park to the other. It has to be magic, right? And they also make it so that different characters that shouldn't be together are always coordinated. But what happens is that if Mickey needs to go from Frontierland to Tomorrowland, they go in the tunnels and he's booking it, right? And these tunnels are like not well lit. There might be some trash, there might be like little puddles and stuff, you can slip. So like almost every day there was people that would just run into each other at the little intersections in the dark and literally like breaking their noses and bleeding and having to get stitches. And so it was always told to me like, unless you have to go in those tunnels, don't go in them because you'll get hurt. And it's not because you get jumped by Freemasons. It's because that there's underpaid, teenagers that are struggling to make ends meet, and they're just like running as fast as they can so they don't get another demerit and have hours taken off their schedule. So that's the reason. There was also, like hanky panky that happens in there because it's dark, and again, lots of teenagers and stuff.
Nice. Hey,
I appreciate that. Thank you for the corrective measure, I guess you could say, on letting us know that that shit is legit real, but that it wasn't as nefarious as some people have made it out to be. So thank you for that.
It could be, but I feel like if they're doing something really nefarious, it's not going to be in those particular tunnels like that. It would be
Right.
like saying that the Eyes Wide Shut party is going on in the utility elevator of the hotel. Like I'm sure they'd probably get the penthouse. They wouldn't use the utility elevator. That's kind of the way that I see it.
yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're not actually kidnapping and child trafficking at Disneyland. That happens.
Well, that's in the
elsewhere.
castle. That's the top level of the castle.
Oh, is that what it is? All right. Well, hey, well, kind of speaking of nefarious things and everything, your current campaign is called Illuminati, and it's adult themed. Um, and it has several books. Have you been like working on this series for a while?
Yeah, for about 2 years, maybe going on three now. And it's four different traditional floppy comics, 24, 28-page comics. But I decided instead of releasing one and then waiting and releasing the other one, I just wanted to release all four at the same time so that I could also, through a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter, perhaps raise money to do like a trade version where I've compiled all 100 pages plus and make some like special perfect bound versions. So that was the reason. But yeah, it's right now it's just a limited series 1 through 4. They're all standalone stories, so you don't need to read them in a specific order. And if you just grab a certain issue that meets your fancy, that's fine too. But based on how well it's done, it might end up being like an ongoing anthology series. So I'm already kind of brainstorming what the next issue or 2 or 4 might look like.
Now, is this the first time you've done like adult themed stuff, or have you published other adult themed?
So this is the first adult, as in boobies, that I've done. Although the whole inspiration for this is because a number of my distributors that get me in brick and mortar comic shops across the country, they tell me that some of my books, previous one was called Frazzle Drip Funhouse, for example. And Frazzle Drip Funhouse is like an over-the-top gore comic, but it's also based on conspiracy theories, and it's basically like a Pizzagate reference. But because it's so graphic and it's mature, it already has to go into the adult section in some of the comic shops to make sure that, teens or kids don't accidentally grab it. And that's not all comic shops, like not the head shop ones, but the ones that sell lots of Funko Pops. They usually have these different sections. So my distributors are telling me, hey, you're already in this special adult section for some of your books, and out of those areas, the ones that sell the best and do the most are these like booby adult comics, like sexually adult comics, more so than the over the top horror gore. And I'm like, I'll do both of them, but like fine, if I'm already got books in this section, why not get them on the other wall that actually sells more? And I had a number of stories that just cater themselves perfectly to being adult comics. So it was almost like having a suggestion, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, why haven't I been doing this already for a while?
Right. Okay. You have distribution. Hmm. I'll
Well,
have
I,
to
I
think
want
about that more.
I just
yeah,
want to chime
I
in
would
one
love
more.
to.
I'm sorry. I want to chime in one more time. I got to ask Tommy, have you ever heard of Omaha the Cat Dancer by Reed Waller and Kate Worley?
I don't think so.
I
Omaha the
think
Cat Dancer.
you got to look it up. It will tantalize, tease, and you will become enamored with the character. Omaha the Cat Dancer, because it sounds like what you're doing with Illuminati is kind of along the same lines as what they did with Omaha the Cat Dancer. Unfortunately, Kate Worley passed away of cancer.
Mm.
I don't know if Reed Waller is still around, but being, almost 20 years above you, I have I have gone through my series of, crazy, and from the independents all the way to, the big two, uh, you know, not even having to mention who they are, but the independents are coming back, and they're coming back strong. And we've had this discussion before on other shows. We feel, and I'm sure you may feel the same way too, that the independent market is booming now and is going to definitely be the future. I think it is the future. What's your take?
Definitely. And I had to look up Omaha the Cat Dancer as you were talking, and honestly, it's like a combination visually to me on the first time I've seen it. It's like Fritz the Cat meets Black Sad a little bit.
Yes.
I like that. And no, I
you,
agree with
you
you.
will.
I just talked with John De La Roz from, I guess, Comic Gate in general. He's like one of the OG like Comic Gate guys. He also runs Fandom Pulse, but he made a compelling argument to me when I had him on for an interview that the traditional brick and mortar comic book shops are sort of like the old way because they exist because of the big two and big three or big four, big five, whatever, but they kind of exist because of this monopoly and because the Marvel and DC were trying to carve their own sort of place out away from magazine and newspaper stands, like a place that you just go and get their intellectual property. And because of how controlled that particular model is, and if you look at like Diamond Distribution style, like you're locked into this finite catalog of people that have bought their way into this secret society, and that's almost starting to do a disservice to all these comic book shops because now if you want independent stuff, like none of the shops in my, and this is very anecdotal, but my experience, like I've hit the ground. I've gone into the doors and knocked and begged and pleaded and tried to negotiate to get my books on space. And a lot of the time, unless they've got a lot of extra free real estate in there, some of these places are like a little hole in the wall closet and they barely have enough real estate to show the things that they have to buy from the distributor, and they're not going to cover that up with like an independent book. So it's been this weird like shooting yourself in the foot dynamic between regular comic book shops to now if you don't care about Marvel and DC or Image or any of like the really big names and you want indie stuff, the only place to really get it is through crowdfund campaigns or direct through the publisher. And there's really not a downside to that from a small independent publisher because now I don't have to set my books to be like 60% off for the sales. I don't have to worry about the crazy inventory that a distributor will require you to send and even pay to get it back. Like all these things don't exist unless you're trying to play by that model. And so like John was basically posing, and I'll paraphrase, like, why play? Like why even play on their stupid playground with their stupid rules? Like there's no reason that you can't just do your own thing. So I'm definitely trying to shift more into focus less on brick and mortar and more on direct sales to readers and maybe conventions and stuff.
Yep,
Yeah.
that sounds like the main way to do it. But I don't, if you can get on shelves, why not,
Well,
put
and
yourself
I
on
love like
shelves?
the shops that'll have me, and shout out Blackbird Comics are the best ones in Central Florida. But like they're few and far between when not only do they have the space, but they're open to having you on there. And then there's like an extra bonus points if they're not filled with contention the whole time you're there, like you walked in and bothered them in their secret hideout.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because I haven't knocked on those doors yet, but that's kind of part of my plan is finding the indie friendly comic book shops. And I was talking to another magazine publisher about sharing contacts. Like, let's go ahead and put a list together and do this. And they were really standoffish about it. And I'm like, well, that's not a cool way to play. Like, why don't we all just kind of find out who the indie friendlies are? Let's put a list together and then we can all start contacting them. I don't know. Is that naive to think that we
Maybe
can
a
work
little
together that
bit,
way?
maybe a little bit, only because the profit margins are so damn slim, and the pain in the ass that it is to manage the SKUs and the different non-standard ways that a
No, I
million
don't.
different indies work.
No, no, no. I don't even mean doing your own distribution. All I mean is let's get a list of indie friendly comic book shops that people can contact and just put together a contact list and then share it, like, hey, these people
I'm all
might
for
might
that.
take you. I'm
I'm all
I'm
for that.
for it too.
It might be a sort of like depressing lesson in how true it is that the brick and mortar comic book shops are kind of like a dying breed. Um,
Hey, at
because
least we can write an article about it and then it's
yeah,
content.
and honestly, if there was a sort of like a single list of here's all the indie friendly shops, I can't see any downside to that for anyone involved. The shops should be happy about that. It'll attract more customers, it'll attract more variety of people. You might have to fish through like thousands of emails of people like carry my, my dinosaur furry comic or whatever, but
Uh, hmm. Okay, so this is what we do. We make a list. We find all the cool people and we make the list and we all help each other and then we gatekeep everybody else out.
that's how it works traditionally, right?
Right?
Because it's like once you get yours, screw everybody else.
Right? Human nature. Yay.
I don't want it to be like that. I mean, I grew up going to comic shops and meeting other people that were digging through the dollar bins and they're suggesting stuff and oh, you like Blue Beetle, you should check this out and having those kind of recommendations. But honestly, like I can get those recommendations online now. There just wasn't an online version of that before.
My husband brought this up maybe like 6 months ago because we were talking about the brick and mortars and being that we are actually a periodical, we were looking into traditional distribution onto the newsstands.
Mhm.
And that's a crazy trip to learn everything there is to learn about that, including anybody that makes an actual profit by being on newsstands is called the 5% Club. You do not get on newsstands to make a profit from the newsstand. It is to get subscriptions. And I'm like, wow. So
Yeah, I mean that a lot of it, even comic books can be loss leaders in a way that it might this will be just a random example, not the perfect one, but let's say they come out with an Avengers, subplot like mini series that's ancillary to some movie coming out. Even if the comic series itself falls on its face and no one likes it and it loses money, it still is better for that to exist at a loss for Marvel because now they've got extra brand recognition for the lunch boxes and the Happy Meal toys and the special popcorn boxes and stuff. So they sure, like we'll eat 5 figures, 6 figures, or something on this thing as a loss leader because it's a drop in the bucket compared to movie promo or like the new promo of the Happy Meals coming out.
yeah, and so I mean, it kind of is. Uh, it's difficult for indies. There's no way indies can compete. There's no loss to be had as an indie unless you're really, 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 really lucky.
Well, I have to interject here if you don't mind. I I'm friends with a lot of people in the toy industry because that's where I came up. Um, since the late '80s, I was going to Toy Fair and Comic Cons, and I started a podcast with a buddy of mine called Nerds in a Bar, which is still on YouTube today, and you can find that Nerds in a Bar. And we talked about a lot of pop culture as well as the toys, but we all know that the TV shows and the comic books are basically the advertising media for the product lines, for the video games, for the toys, for the shirts, the little child's bed, whatever they can think of that they can slap a logo on. marketing wise, they're gonna do it. If they think they've got an idea to sell, they're gonna sell it, and they're gonna put it on everything and anything. And the biggest culprit of that is somebody who I idolized for a very long time until I found out he was part of the Illuminati, is Gene Simmons from Kiss. I worshipped him. I went to my very first concert was a Kiss concert. But then he came out with his TV show Family Jewels, which I finally watched the whole thing, and I've come to find out that he's an Illuminati scumbag, and I can't stand him right now. As much as I loved their music when I was a child, we said it earlier, you said it with the AI music, that some people will just shut down and turn off. Yeah, when I hear a Kiss song on the radio, I'm like, damn, you know what? I remember that. I remember that show. Or I remember the girl I was with when that first song came out, or whatever the case may be. But I'm not going to go out of my way to buy their albums, listen to their music anymore. I've got their CDs somewhere, but God only knows where. They're sitting in a box, and I don't even care to look for them. So that's my digression. Sorry, I went tangent sideways real hard.
I'm like, cool story, bro.
But I digress. Go ahead, Tommy.
Well, I think it's interesting though, because if you had never seen him in his personal life and never broke that veil, then you'd probably still just be happy enough to be a Kiss fan and not even have that extra frame of reference. So it's like, do you intentionally try to just avoid meeting your heroes? I think that might be the best advice that anyone can have, is just like, don't care about their personal life unless there's a reason that you want to figure out if you want to support them on some moral level or oppose them. But otherwise, just like let the art be the art. There's another show that I do with one of my good friends, David Charles Plate, but he always brings up this book called The Death of an Artist, I believe. And the whole premise is just that once the artist has created their thing, their picture, their comic book, or their music, even if they had a certain message or a certain intent in mind, like they've let the cat out of the bag. And now if someone else listens to their music or looks at that painting and they get a completely different interpretation of it that inspires them to do something almost antithetical to whatever the original piece meant, like the artist has no control over that. Like they no longer are allowed to claim ownership of the intent or the meaning of their piece, because now they've given it to the rest of the world to make those interpretations. So it's the same way that like you can also decide to realize that Gene Simmons' Kiss persona is its own thing, living in its own dimension and its own reality, and then ignore that, the guy behind it might actually just be like like a corporate fascist.
Oh, I forgot I was muted. Can you hear me now?
I was waiting for you.
It's so frustrating for me because I have two mute buttons. No, I agree with everything you just said, Tommy. I couldn't agree with you more. I still own Kiss paraphernalia. I'm a collector. Always have been, always will be, till the day I die. Whether it be CDs, whether it be Batman, hence the name, whether it be Gene Simmons, Kiss dolls, whatever. I've got everything you could think of, from a Lego's Ecto One, from the original Ghostbusters, to Scooby-Doo's Mystery Machine. I've got it all. But that's what I did. I collected to the extent that I right now. Anyway, long story short, it's all about being able to turn the product into money, and that helps you build more revenue for generating more art. And so, like, we had Dustin Beaumont. I don't know if you know who he is.
It doesn't sound familiar. I live in an absolute bubble though.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, which, by the way, this is something. I'm sorry. I'm gonna interject here, because this is something that cracked me up about your bubble, because I found that out when you were talking to John. That was one of the podcasts that I was watching. You didn't even know what Comicsgate was, and I was like, man, I need to take lessons from Thomas. Like, don't even know all this shit that's going on out there. Just do your stuff.
Well, I thought it was just like I'm such a naive person, but like I thought Comicsgate was just like, if you're an independent comic producer, and you want extra visibility, you just use a Comics Gate tag. It would be like tagging indie comics. And then I had a, a, a creator that I work with, and they were like, why are you, tagging this thing? And I didn't realize it was in like an ideological, controversial, political thing at all. I just thought it was like free extra tweets.
Dude, you know what? It's very, very funny because I was we're really bad at the social media at the Flip City, but I'm getting better. But I was tagging Comicscape for a while, and then I started kind of looking into what was happening. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I really want to
Yeah,
be that
I don't know.
involved.
It's just a
Like,
bunch of dudes bitching about how long it's taking them to ship their comics. Like, that's not necessarily what I was looking for.
we're all no, there's just yeah. I don't know how to use hashtags. I'm lame. Whatever. But yes,
Well,
I start.
this actually happened too. I had I have a series called Paranoid Pamphlets, which is based on chick tracks. And one of them is like on MK Ultra. I've got one coming out about Bigfoot, one about Satanic Panic. So it's essentially chick tracks, but the conspiracy theory version. But my first name for it was called Get Woke. And I mean, this was like from 2014 through like 2017, 18, and I'm
Right.
working on it with this other writer. And the writer's like definitely self-prescribed woke in the sense that I know what that term means now, but back then I thought woke was like, stop being asleep, sheeple. So he even asked me, we were working on some script before, and he's like, yeah, this character should be ultra woke. And as we're like talking about each other, I realized we're totally not on the same page. And then he was like, wait, what do you think woke means? And I was like, yeah, it's like you believe in 9/11 and you think that like the government's always after you. And that was the last conversation we had, and they parted ways with me because, and then
Oh,
I slowly realized like, oh, woke is like this whole thing that means like there's like rules that go with it. And I didn't know until I had already like lost somebody I was working with because I was being insensitive, I guess.
yeah. I guess you go outside and touch grass once in a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn you. Hey, no, actually, and I heard this recently because the first time I ever heard woke is how it is meant now, but I heard recently from somebody else it actually did mean originally what you're talking about
I know,
is
but then I
somebody
went to
that is
sleep and then I woke back up and it had changed and I didn't get the memo and that
yeah.
was the end of it. Luckily, I learned that before I printed like 5,000 copies of that book because it was literally called Get Woke, but now it would have been kind of disastrous if it was like Paranoid Americans putting out Get Woke pamphlets. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, it may have had a wonderful effect on the mind infected, the woke mind infected, because they would be like, oh, dude, this is for me. And then they'd read it and be like, you know what? I'm going to look into, I don't know, do woke people look into anything?
Well, I was actually the second one was going to be on the public education system. I know it's a page turner, but it was going to be an interesting version of this. But this was in 2019, right around when I first started doing the AI stuff. But I get them all printed up in 2019, and the whole concept of chick tracks is that they're small, they're cheap, you can leave them in like bathrooms and on payphones. Not that those exist anymore, but you like leave them out in public for people to come across them and say, "Oh, this is cool. What? Oh, is this free? I'll just take it." And that was the whole plan. And I was going to go to Disney and Universal and just drop them all over the place so that people would find them. And in particular, in the theme parks, you got people coming from all over the country, all over the world. So it's like a nice little distribution network. But then the pandemic happened, and the last thing that people were looking to do was pick up pieces of trash that they found out in public and bring it back home. Like they were bleaching their groceries, let alone like just finding things out in the world, right? So it kind of changed my whole entire approach of what that series was going to be.
Okay,
That's
well,
that's so guerrilla marketing. That's a great idea, and it's something that you may want to revisit now, because you, instead of taking them to those places, you go to coffee shops. You drop off little pamphlets at coffee shops or at a Five Guys restaurant, anywhere where their kids are.
Yeah, Walmart. Sometimes if like we're having
Oh
to go to
yeah.
Walmart or like the dollar store or something, just kind of sprinkle them around. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or go to bookstores and go in the comic book section and leave a couple of them in front of some of the books.
No, inside. put it
Yeah, inside.
inside the
Yeah, but then
book.
but then
Yeah.
somebody's got to buy the book to do it. But you can. I know that my sensei used to put his business card inside judo and jujitsu books to get students, and
That
it was wild.
that one's good. That I've actually seen this backfire in some ways. Because in another life, back when I was doing like music full time, I ended up becoming one of the regional distributors for Sam Goody Music, and I was basically like the gatekeeper that if you were an independent artist and you wanted your CD to be sold officially in any of the Sam Goody Music Land stores in like all of Central Texas, essentially, that you'd have to go through me, and we had this little process. And a lot of time, what people would do is they would like sneak their CDs into the store without going through us and just put it in the racks. But then what happens is that unless someone comes across it and they're also planning on stealing it,
Right.
then they get it and they bring it to the counter and they're like, I don't like it's not in the system. And then either they can't sell it to you, like it's not like a surefire way. And the same thing I could potentially see happening in like a comic book shop, because now it's like unless they're gonna steal it, then they bring it to the front and then like they don't know what the price is and they might end up going away with it, but
But
the
that's
interaction is kind of awkward.
that's why you put it inside a book or something that has to do with your thing. Yeah, we've done
No,
that
that's
kind of
that's a
guerrilla
great idea
marketing
because
with
then it's like a bonus thing and no one feels like they stole anything.
right, exactly.
I would just like steal this book. Even those though, like they have books that say steal this book, but you're not actually allowed to steal the book, which is kind of
right.
silly.
I think there was a book called Steal This Book, and in fact, we have a marketing campaign going on right now that I think is good for our brand, and it's Burn This Magazine. They have to buy it first, but
Right
we're not in
now.
brick and
Is that the subtitle? You have to buy it first.
no, because we're not in brick and mortar, so
Yeah.
it's direct to customer. Hey, I wanted to get into, so normally, Thomas, I know I wasn't able to break everything down early for you. Normally we go into segments and we've got a few of them, but I'm pretty much dedicating all our segments tonight to Conspiracy Corner because I really want to talk conspiracy with you. I think we're
Let's
going to have
do
a good time. So let's get into Conspiracy Corner, pals.
I wanna live with a conspiracy girl. I could be prepping the rest of my life with a conspiracy girl.
Those weren't aliens. All right, so now we are officially in Conspiracy Corner.
Oh, do we have hats? Hold on.
Yes. Oh my God, I knew it. I was really hoping that you'd put a hat on for this. What's it look like? Don't
Well,
tell
yeah,
me it's
I
an
didn't know.
Illuminati hat.
I've got hats ready at all times.
Look at you.
There
Oh,
you go.
it's costume section.
There we go.
I don't know what hat that is.
It's a bellhop hat.
Oh, a bellhop hat. Okay, that works.
From the Overlook Hotel.
What is the Overlook Hotel?
The Shining.
Okay, so that's just a piece.
Red rum, red rum, red rum.
All right, so it's memorabilia that you bought, like regarding The Shining and all.
Yeah,
that.
we'll say that.
Steal this hat. All right, so you're an unashamed conspiracy theorist. I dabble in it. I doubt I have the knowledge that you have, but I want you to blow my mind. Like, what is a really cool conspiracy theory that you think I may want to look into?
Are we monetized or live on YouTube?
We are live on YouTube.
Okay.
And,
Well,
I
I'll
don't
temper
give a shit.
myself.
I
I'll
don't give a
temper
shit.
myself. I don't want to judge
All
that.
right. Well, temper yourself if you need to, but we are also free speech absolutists. So YouTube, you do
Yeah, well,
your best,
I know
guess.
certain words that you can just say that'll just get the stream taken down. And one of my favorite things that would blow your mind is unfortunately in one of those categories. So I'll dance around it a little bit.
Okay,
But
dance around.
it's a derivative of adrenaline that
I know
is
it.
rumored to be tortured out of people, and they use it for all sorts of purposes, according to conspiracy theorists, age-defying, skin cream and all sorts of stuff. Do you know what substance
And
I'm talking about?
And it was in Fear and Loathing in Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
there you go.
apparently.
Let's not. I'm just pro tip. Don't
Adrenaline,
say
yes,
that
I
word
know.
out loud on YouTube.
I
I've learned
didn't
that the
know.
hard
I
way
didn't
many
know.
times. So one of
Don't
the
type
things,
that word out in the chat either, damn it.
yeah.
Nobody's watching this anymore. Come on.
But that in my mind, I sought out to discredit that. Like I was working on a comic where the premise was a bunch of kids get onto the dark web and they order some of this stuff and then dot dot dot. And that's where I kind of like stopped right. I was on like page 3. It shows up to the kid's house. They're like, let's do it. And then I was like, well, how do you do it? Do you smoke it? Do you snort it? Do you shoot it? Do you like buff it? Boof it, and
I don't
I
know
s-
what the buffet is.
it's
In the
well, yeah,
butt?
don't yeah, go ahead and look that one up too.
Is
Yeah,
it in the butt?
you can parachute it. Um, but so I started looking like, okay, how would you actually do it? And I couldn't find any really reliable sources. There was a couple on Aroid that basically said it was a nothing burger. There was one dude that wrote a book on Amazon, but I bought the book, I read the book, and it was BS. Like he was all sorts of messed up on a bunch of different things. So there was almost nothing in particular that even said it was a real thing. So I was like, I'm just gonna figure out if it's even real and maybe even like debunk this thing. Like maybe it does never existed, it was never this thing. And then once I started finding some paperwork from the 1930s, and it was like, okay, no, these guys said that they were taking it, they were giving it to their wives and their colleagues, and they were tripping out. And even in one case, the effects lasted for 2 weeks. And then that they were so astounded by the effects that this thing had, and it was unique because up until this point, aside from adrenaline, there was pretty much no other drug that you could extract from a living mammal and put it in your body and feel some kind of specific effects. Adrenaline is an obvious version. This other one was another. And that was like, okay, that's interesting. So maybe it is something. And then I would go to look, okay, who's doing the research? And I see everything is funded by the 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemasons. I was like, okay, this is a joke because I thought that we were looking into this highly controversial conspiratorial thing, and you're telling me that it was actually funded by the Freemasons in the 30s through the 50s, and then they exchanged the baton to the CIA, which then folds it into the MK Ultra mind control program. So what started out as me writing a comic book about a bunch of teenagers ordering something off the dark web, and then just doing a research like, okay, what would they actually do with this? What would the effects be? And then I uncovered like undeniable proof that all the claims, well, some of the claims made in Fear and Loathing, for example, they might not be far-fetched. They might actually be something that's an incredibly potent psychedelic, and that it's obtained by sort of nefarious means, and it's got a real backstory. It wasn't completely fictional. I've read the stuff from Terry Gilliam and from Hunter S. Thompson that basically say like, oh, it's fictionalized. We came up with it for the story. No, none of that's true. It 100% had the exact same rumors around it in the same sort of context that he sort of plays on, but that's always been there since the 30s.
That is fascinating. And I had seen, and I watched maybe the first 2 minutes because, when you're on the internet, you have to bounce all over the place, especially if you have ADD like me. But you had done a short documentary
Yep,
on
that's the
this.
one
And
that
does
got
it,
me kicked off YouTube the first time. It's a 20-minute documentary. It's 100% factual. Every single claim is cited, like the original scientific paper that it comes from, everything. There's nothing there that comes from just rumor. And the claims that are shown, it's like, and here's what this news place in Bulgaria said, and here's what they said. 100% factual, and that one just kept getting taken down specifically for hate speech, and that opened up a whole nother rabbit hole that I found myself down.
on YouTube specifically, hate
On
speech.
YouTube specifically, TikTok, and Facebook. All three of those platforms
Gave you the
has
same warning though.
well, so TikTok doesn't give you as much insight. YouTube will at least tell you which of their many different crazy rules that you bumped up against. So usually it's like medical misinformation, or it's like controversial, or it's like a copyright ding. But this one in particular was hate speech, which was like, that's weird. There's nothing in here that says anything about hate. So I did some digging and I actually found a paper from 2018 that was made by the Sufan Center, which is a ex-CIA think tank kind of conglomerate where all the people that are like in that revolving door of intelligence and government, like this company, it's this think tank that people kind of like flow into. And they did a report in 2018 that had to do with QAnon, and essentially this blew my freaking mind. Like I couldn't believe this. I kept rereading it. Like there's no way this is true. So the Sufan Center did a poll nationally, and they wanted to get a check on how many people believed in Pizzagate and how many people believed in QAnon, and this substance that I'm mentioning was one of the things that they polled people on. And they found out that just the normal Joe off the street, not within like a certain camp, just like the general American, had greater than a 50% chance of believing some of these QAnon conspiracy theory claims, in particular, like the
That
Pizzagate
one.
style stuff. And this again was, they did not go and find a Trump rally and sample from extremists at a Trump rally. This was like a Joe off the street. And the conclusion of this report was like, uh-oh, like like we got to do something about this because the general population is actually being radicalized by this tiny little niche of 4chan QAnon posters. And that was the general tone of this paper. And it kind of provides a loose idea of, and if people mention these particular topics, then they are an extremist. And guess what? The word that I'm not saying is on that list. So just by saying it or having it on the screen or anything, it basically gives you a little red flag that says, hey, I'm doing hate speech extremist content because of this think tank.
Right. Okay. So that I'm really interested in this paper because I haven't seen it. Is that something you can link me to?
Oh, yeah, we can do it right now.
All right, cool. And I will actually drop that in all the chats as well. Are you just gonna send it to me
I'll do it right here in our chat.
on the
Uh,
Zoom chat?
yep. It's oops. Is that I just
Yeah,
gave you your
please
own Zoom
do.
link back. Hold on.
Actually, I'd like to get a little bit deeper into this. And in fact, because this is something that we haven't done in a while, because I don't have huge numbers, but if we want to speak more freely, I do drop YouTube. But I just have one more segment. Are you cool to hang out a little longer?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. We can keep going.
All right, cool. Well,
And I'm
we
good too. So keep going.
yay.
And just for if anyone wants to look this up, it's called the Sufan Center Special Report, and the title is Quantifying the Q Conspiracy. And sorry, it's from April 2021, not 2018. So if you look
That's
for
really interesting.
Sufan Center Quantifying Q Conspiracy, April 2021, you'll find this report that I'm talking about and all the numbers, and it is absolutely mind-blowing. They were like, holy crap, we need to get these normies back in line. That was sort of the result of this report.
Okay, I'm really interested in reading that. It sounds fun. Oh, wow. So it is actually just a link to a PDF for the whole thing. All right, I'm just going to
Yeah,
drop
it
that
is the
in.
report, and it's not like a Huffington Post blog article. Like this is commissioned and provided to the government and to social media think tanks and the Silicon Valley bigwigs. So this is what they use to develop. Like when you're like, what kind of crazy people are putting together these YouTube policies? Well, this is the DNA. This is where it
Okay.
starts, and it turns into the YouTube policy.
Ooh, how fun is that, you guys? Look at I knew we were gonna have a good time tonight, but you know what? Let's just lighten it up a little bit. We're gonna do our last segment, then we're gonna drop YouTube, and then we can get super heavy and say
Okay,
whatever we want
awesome.
on our alt platforms. So, Chamos, or as my co-host Batman, who likes to rename everybody, Tommy, or conspiracy guy, conspiracy. What it? Oh, I'm paranoid, not conspiracy guy. All right. So we end our stream usually by reading a little bit of Flip City content, and I try to like pick something relevant to the guests that I have on.
Yep,
And
that's all. That's all.
yeah, so you oh, and thank you by the way for delivering some really good content with your bellhop hat. So you're a longtime conspiracy theorist, as we've already mentioned multiple times. And I'm sure you've heard of stars selling their souls, but the purpose of Flip City isn't only to entertain, it is to educate. And there are a couple, I have a couple of slides here that I'd like you to read as part of our Stars Who Sold Their Souls, originally published in issue 14 in 2022. And I think you're going to walk away enlightened. And I'm going to read you in if that's okay. And then you're going to read a couple of slides after that. Cool?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, stars who sold their souls to Satan. For real. For real. Before you accuse us of satanically panicking, everybody knows that the rich and famous have routinely sold their souls to the devil for fortune and fame. Bending over to take it from the Lord of the Flies may have been a boon to the careers of legendary bluesmen Robert Johnson, the Rolling Stones, and Jimmy Page. But here are some celebrities whom you had no idea shook hands with Lucifer to rise to the top. Let's do it.
Okay. Why is it that much like McDonald's, there's the time codes. Much like a McDonald's cheeseburger left out on the table, Full House sitcom veteran Stamos refuses to age. Stamos played a lovable Uncle Jesse on the popular comedy show for 8 years, but rumors about this Full House was more of a hell house. Falling under the evil influence of a pair of witchcraft-obsessed twins, Ashley and Mary-Kate Olsen, Stamos and his agent allegedly brokered a deal with the devil to preserve his youthful good looks, with an option on immortality based on future residuals. After discovering the dirty deed, co-star Bob Saget would blackmail Stamos in a nightclub gig-fixing scheme that lasted for decades. But this dastardly deal would have deadly consequences years later, culminating with the ritualized murder of Saget and resulting in cover-up aided by college admission, scandal-comprised Lori Laughlin, stoking Dave Collier, Uncle Joey's fears that he may be next.
Bet you didn't know?
I didn't know that. And actually, I recognize the artwork for that.
Oh, I meant to say we both work with Dave McDowell. Love him.
Yeah. So and he did the cover for my Paranoid American History anthology, which was the first comic that I ever put out. He did the cover for that.
I did not realize that was. Have you worked with him since, or was that the only thing he's done for you?
I've wanted to. No, it's the only thing that we've done together, and we still talk back and forth, and he's just waiting on me to throw him another bone.
All right, listen. Dave needs money for cigarettes. That's all I got. All I got to say. So, like, hire him. All right, here's the next one.
Cecil C. celebrated, yet demonstrably talentless singer Beyonce has been suspect over bizarre symbology-rich videos, her occult Coachella performance, and rumors of animal cruelty, black magic from former employees, but the real story has still gone untold. Naturally gifted with the most massive ego in the music business, this distended diva recently released a new album named Renaissance, dubbing it only Act 1 of what is apparently going to be her magnum opus. Bey allegedly begged arcane deity Baphomet for career assistance. Tragically, her plea to the Dark Lord to possess the biggest ass in entertainment backfired when she wound up married to rapper-producer Jay-Z. After serving in satanic sacrifices with her spouse, she subsequently supplied her spawn to grooming at the hands of the showbiz machine. The cost of success would be the damnation she would share with her hubby, shooting advertisements for jewelry and perfume for eternity.
Okay, come on. The biggest ass in entertainment, Jay-Z. That's fucking hilarious.
And there's a missed opportunity to really drive in the spirit cooking connection between them and Marina Abramovic too, because Jay-Z seemed to really take a liking to her.
Really, and and that's the thing too. This was published in 2022, so it is a little bit old, obviously, because we're talking about Renaissance and all that. Did she make more albums, by the way? I have no idea because we don't give a shit.
Yeah, I am. I'm in a bubble on that one too.
Okay, all right, cool. And that is all you're going to have to read tonight. But let's take a look at more of Dave's art. The other stars that you didn't know are Paul Rubens, R.I.P. By the way, this was made before he passed away untimely. I think he wasn't that old, right?
50s, 60s. Yeah, that was it was young for him.
Yeah. So yeah, Paul Rubens, Daniel Radcliffe. I mean, that kind of seems a little bit obvious. And LeVar Burton also was
Really?
a
Where?
star.
Oh,
Yep.
I see. I haven't heard anything about LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
This is shocking me a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And that is why it's so important to subscribe to Flip City Magazine, is so that you get to know these things. It's all the things that get completely censored from the internet. And so yeah, we're on the cuttingest of edges when it comes to stars who and Heidi Klum. Bet you didn't know that either.
Oh, well, that one's kind of a given. Like Goop, right? Isn't Goop basically what Aleister Crowley was trying to sell people? Was his Goop?
You know what? To tell you the truth, I do not remember this article and how it went, but I do know that apparently she does keep baby teeth in her purse, hence the tooth
As you
that
do.
Dave. Yeah. So, yes, and that was stars who sold their state is sold to Satan for real.
That was awesome.
And Thomas, hire Dave. He needs money for cigarettes. We love
I
him. We
know,
love
trust
him.
me, we literally had that conversation within the last week. But
That he
right,
needed cigarettes.
well, no, but the just like, hey man, like I'm ready, like let's work, and I'm waiting on someone to need something so that I can hire him to do the thing.
Right, right. Yeah, Dave McDowell is probably one of our most prolific illustrators. Probably because anytime he asks if he can do something, we throw him something.
It's always amazing too, man. Like I am
And it's
absolutely
fast.
in love with his cereal boxes and his like parody game boards. Like I want to more than anything, I would love to just make some freaking like Monopoly and Sorry games with him.
You know what? Cause if you can just make me full screen, because this is crazy. I usually have this tucked away. I have a ton of his original artwork that he's done for Flip City, like sitting right here.
Yeah, honestly, the cover for my Paranoid American History,
Uh-huh.
I've got the canvas hanging on the wall in my hallway back here.
I wasn't preparing to do this, but yeah, no, Dave is fantastic, and I don't know if you've noticed this. How much time do you spend on social media, by the way?
I go through spurts. I mean, I try to actually like I schedule myself to go on social media so that I don't completely lose touch. Because once you find yourself and like letting it collect dust, and like the algorithm forgets you for a while. So I try to spend maybe an hour and a half a day if I've got an active campaign going. But otherwise, yeah, I like to just not exist. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I completely know what you mean, and that's something that I think we, as a business, made a giant mistake when we, in our first 2 years, we had a really great trajectory, but we fucked social media off. We're like, wow, we hate social media. We're not going to do it, and we lost all that steam.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have our subscribers and everything, but all the people that were kind of watching us and seeing what we were doing, we fucked it. Anyway, so
Well,
yeah,
I had a really big Facebook page for a while, and like 2012 or so, like 2012 to 2016, and then 2016, I kept getting my wrist slapped because don't remember what it was, and then I felt like I was in this weird place where I'm like anti everything that Facebook is doing. Yeah, I'm still on Facebook, and it was so hypocritical. It was almost like being a health nut conspiracy theorist and then going and buying a pack of Marlboro Reds and chain smoking them. And it was like I know this money is going directly to like Big Brother and the Illuminati that are doing it to kill me. So I had this internal conflict, and I was like, you know what, screw it. They banned my page this time. I'm not gonna make a new one. I'm just gonna do it without Facebook. And like I almost felt like I had the moral high ground to do that, but not only did I shoot myself in the foot by doing that and losing out on like a decade of building more momentum online, but also my one of my best friends, Cheney Nash from Project Cheney and Secret Society of Good Guys. I've known her forever, but she has this quote of like, never leave the battlefield. Like even if you have to go and fight on their terms and it's an away game in their stadium, like you can't ever leave the battlefield, even if that means constantly making a new account and starting with 0 subscribers all over again. just never stop like, being in this annoying little pest. Even if you're just bugging their AI bot and you don't even have to bug a real person, but just like keep doing it. So I wish
Right.
I had that mentality 10 years ago.
That's really interesting because that was one of the reasons we probably have about 5 Twitter accounts is on our third ban. Back when it was way easy to get banned over on Twitter, a friend of mine basically said the same thing. Like, this is the battlefield. Make your account again, build it up. But what's great is now we've gotten all of our accounts back. And the one that I'm using as my personal account over on Twitter, it has a decent amount of following because it was an old Flip City account. So now I get to look like I have a little bit of clout. So people will talk to me, because that's the other thing too. People won't talk to you if you don't have a certain amount of followers. So like I'm over that 5K, and also my ratio isn't that bad. So I have the clout, so people will talk to me. God, I hate social media.
This is, I have like the worst relationship with social media because even when I started out and still now, like if I if I'm interacting with an account that's got 10,000 or more followers or anything, I'm almost feel less inclined to contact just because it's like I'd rather talk to someone that doesn't ignore 100 messages a day. I'd rather talk to someone that's got 300 followers or 1,000 followers just because I feel like I can actually talk to that person and not get the PR coordinator or the project manager or the social media manager or any of that, or even the person that's like pretending to be so big that they have one of those roles, even though it's just them doing the thing. Like I
Hey,
just,
oh, I'm so sorry. That is my Twitter profile. It's not me. I am at Kitty Flip City, and I am the oh, what am I? I'm the public relations novice. So I'm sorry if I intimidated you.
yeah, well, like I have run into people that have like messaged me back and they're like, "Oh, so and so can't talk right now. They're busy. This is their," and it's like, no, I know that this is still you,
You're
anyways.
being a douche.
And but I guess part of being in that bubble too is like I'll come on the scene and I've got a lot of friends that have much bigger platforms and bigger podcasts than I do, and I'll go on and co-host and they're like, "Yeah, I've got this huge name on," and it's like unless they wrote a book about conspiracy theories in the 90s, I probably don't know who they are even if they're huge. So it's a pro and a con because sometimes I find myself in a room where the person's got like, hundreds of thousands of followers and they're almost like insulted that I don't know who they are, what they've talked about, or what their thing is like going in. But it's also like I like it because sometimes there will be some, big name that's got their thing and I don't know, and they're not bothered by that. And I get to ask questions that are maybe outside of people that have been following them for 5, 10 years. Like they're gonna have the same kind of questions, whereas I might come from a completely different angle because I don't know who the hell you are. I don't necessarily care who you are, but that
Right. Yeah, you
applies
don't you
to
don't have that reverence for
well,
them because they
and it's
have
like
a
I
million
treat
followers.
and if someone's got 300 or 300,000 to me, like I treat them the same way, even if I know beforehand, because I don't, they're the same stranger to me, you know what I mean? And I guess maybe I touch grass too often, to where I don't know, it doesn't matter as much to me.
You're talking to AI too much. That's what it is.
Honestly, you're so right about that
Am
because
I?
even as a kid, man, like I didn't get along great with other kids, and anyone that I had like became really good friends with would always end up getting into some stupid fight over something really dumb. And I never had that with computers. And once I learned how to program computers and make them do what I wanted them to do, it was like, this is what it's like to be able to communicate with another thing and never have something like misinterpreted and they never get mad. And
Oh
it
my
changed the whole way
God.
that I look at the world.
That is simultaneously the saddest and sweetest story I've ever heard. Like
Well, it gave
something's
me hope.
interacting with me.
It gave me hope because it was like, yeah, like the predictability and the reproducibility and like knowing what to expect. It alleviated so much frustration that I had where it was like I just couldn't figure out how to click with people for long spouts of time. You know what I mean? Because
I
I
think
don't
I
know.
do.
I'm
But
annoying. I'm an annoying person, and I pick
are
at
you
things.
annoying? I don't know.
I am.
Anytime, and that's the thing too. I over the past, oh gosh, I made probably close to a year that I've been kind of following you. That's the other thing too. It's hard to like follow multiple accounts. I'll come across a thing that you post or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'll check this out. But my point is, over the last about year that I passively follow you, like anytime I see you being yourself anywhere, like you just seem like a cuddly, fun person. I'm like, I want to hang out with that guy.
Well, I appreciate that. Maybe that means you're annoying too, though. That
I
might
think
be.
I know I am actually. I embrace it though.
Well, that's the thing. And when I say annoying, I mean that like I was maybe not in high school because I couldn't get out of there fast enough, but in college for sure. I was the guy that like everyone was leaving in 5 minutes as long as everyone shuts up and no one asks another question, we're all getting out of there. But I'd be like, "Hey, I've got this question that's going to maybe take 40 more minutes for you to answer." And I could hear just groans in the room,
That's
and I
really annoying.
but I did it like literally every day for my entire college career because I'm thinking like I'm not paying money to be friends with you and like please you. I'm here to like pay this guy to tell me stuff that I need to know. So I'm gonna sit here and ask all the questions. And I also can be annoying of like the why. Like I love the Socratic method where if I want to make a point, it feels like it would make less of an impact if I just say the point. So if I ask you a million annoying questions that eventually lead to the point that I'm making without me having to make it, but it also takes a while to get there, so that can be annoying.
Right. Completely understand. Well, let's do this because I did want to talk more about the naughty word or even multiple naughty words that we're not supposed to say
Sweet.
online. So let's close this portion of the stream out. We're going to have an after party over on Pilled, Rumble, and drop Facebook too, cause because fuck Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Are you also on
uh,
D Live yet?
no, I'm not on D Live, and I'm not really interested in doing D Live as either. I think if
Is
we're
this a
gonna
new
do another
website?
alt,
D Live?
No. D
Oh.
Live is just
hey,
another streaming
we'll
platform for
we'll talk
gamers.
about that. We'll talk about that in just one moment. Let's just close out YouTube and everything. I'm sorry, Batman, I love you, but I'm just gonna close the stream out over on YouTube. So anybody over on YouTube who happened to be George Washington X Belmont Comics, by the way, checked in. So thank you for coming over. If you are still here, I really
Can
appreciate
I
you
just
guys
do
are
a quick
coming.
shout out? Can I do a
Yeah,
quick shout out
of
to
course.
George Washington X? I missed your comment last week. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you. And follow us over here on Pilda Rumble. Come on
That's
over.
right. And I will, during the intermission, be dropping links where you guys can join us for the after party and Vulcan Watt lives, good stuff. Awesome. I've been meaning to contact you and I hope your surgery went well and you are healing swiftly. And Hangton, Alien Surfer, if you're still around, I'm sure we'll see you over on Build. But we're going to be dropping YouTube, have a little, 1, 2, 3 minute intermission playing, and I hope you queued up the Bigfoot song, my favorite sound scientist song. And join us next week at 6 o'clock on Thursday. We're going to have Sean Salter, author and illustrator of Silence Dog. I'm sorry, Silence Doggood, and that's a story about a time traveling Ben Franklin. I have been watching his podcast, and he's fucking fantastic. He is very salty and hilarious. So come back next week, 6 o'clock on Thursday, and of course, because of the algorithm and stuff that we're slaves to, like, share, and subscribe. Blast us out. I tried to bring you the very best guests. I've had a great time with Thomas. And we're going to say goodbye to YouTube. And you're a good Batman. Oh, wait. Before we say bye to YouTube, Thomas, where do you want people to follow you?
Oh, paranoidamerican.com is the best place because if I do get taken down on all the social media, I own my own website. So paranoidamerican.com. And then on most of the social networks, it's either Paranoid American with an N, or in the case of Twitter or other ones where you can't fit the whole thing, it's just at Paranoid America. So real easy to find me in all the places.
Yay! And it's a good follow. It is a good follow. I enjoy
It's
following you.
and I do my damn best to only post original content. So I really try hard not to repost other memes and like regenerated stuff that you've already seen a million times. Like I really make a strong effort so that if you follow my account, you'll see stuff that you'll only see if you follow my account.
All right. Bye, YouTube. We're going to take a quick intermission and we'll see you on the other side on Pilled and Rumble for any lurkers that are over there. And I'm going to go pee pee. Bye. Next week.
Let's join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Welcome to the cult, caught you chasing fame. Welcome to the cult, you're in a twisted game. Welcome to the cult, run by the CIA. Welcome to the cult, we'll make you change your name. Now I'm in a cult, who expected this result? Got more chores than orgies and there's no sex rituals. In this cult, I'm stuck and sick of being in this. Join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Let's join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Welcome to the cult, caught you chasing fame. Welcome to the cult, you're in a twisted game. Welcome to the cult, run by the CIA. Welcome to the cult, we'll make you change your name. Now I'm in a cult, who expected this result? Got more chores than orgies and there's no sex rituals. In this cult, I'm stuck and sick of being in this. Join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Let's join a cult, let's join a cult. I heard that they got sex rituals. Let's join a cult, yeah, let's go join a cult. Anyone that will take me, let me join your cult. Let's join a cult.